That's really fucking aggravating.
Really fucking aggravating.
Hello, not you.
That's really... Cheers for tuning in. That's really fucking aggravating. Oh, hello, Aaron. You're watching straight with us. Nice. Like I messaged you or something, isn't it? Cool. Welcome to Sighted. I'm Kieran. This is Rob. I don't know why I said your name. You can say your own.
I'm Kieran, and this is Rob. Wait.
Shit.
Fuck.
Cut the bullshit. Today we bring you the lengthy topic of bands and artists that use their own music to promote beliefs such as religion, sexism or anti-sexism,
Sexuality, sexualness.
activism, just sex as a whole.
Yeah.
I got a pussy, you have a dicker. We'll get onto them later. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
We've got 2 reviews, as we just mentioned. Later on, we had Rob's pick.
Don't think you did mention that.
What?
2 reviews. You said we'll bring you a lengthy topic. And as we just mentioned...
Oh, no, I meant the Rammstein thing.
Ah.
Yeah, one of them.
I see.
As I kind of just mentioned, 2 reviews. Later on, we got Rob's pick of Rammstein with Rammstein. We'll also have a live review of Rammstein by myself, because I am the king. But today we start off with my choice of Conspiracy by the Raven Age. So,
yes.
Do you know anything about Raven Age before this happened?
I've never heard of them, didn't know they were a band. So this was literally going in 100% blind.
Right, I have heard their name before.
Okay.
Oh yeah, there's no news in case you couldn't tell.
No news.
No news. And yeah, I've heard the name before, but never bothered to check them out because I'm awful at new music. And then I thought they were gonna support Alterbridge on their tour, and I love Alterbridge, so I thought
the upcoming tour.
Yeah.
Are they fucking
they're opening?
really?
Yeah, it's them, then somebody I can't remember, Shinedown, and Alterbridge.
Okay.
Yeah, it's probably a good like half-hour set from them.
Yeah. Okay.
But do we like them? That's the question.
It is a question, and it's a very fucking good one. So, as it was your pick, I feel like I'm going to give you the choice of who goes first.
I don't really care who goes first in this one. With Rammstein, I want you to go first, so I'll go first now.
Okay, yeah, fair. I'm scared.
Right, Conspiracy by the Ravenage.
The Ravenage.
Ravenage. Right, starting off, so yeah, the first track is Bloom of the Poison Seed. Starting off with easy listening, instrumental only piece. Gives off, I don't know why I got this, but it gave off like I was walking through a forest feel. That's what I got from it.
No, yeah, I can kind of actually relate to that. Kind of see.
Yep, it's perhaps a tad long, but certainly enjoyable. Now, this next sentence may not make sense because I fuck up a lot on Spotify. When I'm on my phone, it's fine, but when I'm using my Xbox, it doesn't unshuffle when I choose an album from my playlist. So at this moment, I wrote, annoyingly, it doesn't transition well into the next track. But the next track I listened to was the last track, so it wouldn't have done. I sorted it out after
This
that.
does happen a fair amount, doesn't it?
Too much.
Cool. So yeah, Bloom of the Poison Seed, quite like it. Additional instrumentation is sick. At this point, I have no idea what kind of album it's going to be, and I'm kind of excited.
Yeah, cool.
So second track, Betrayal of the Mind.
Yes, great. So just give him one. So from here on, I'll listen to it in order. Bar the mind, the fucking final track. So yeah, Betrayal of the Mind, immediately enjoying the drums here. The guitar work is pretty good too. There's nothing really stand out here, but it's a good track regardless.
Yeah, so obviously I said I have no idea what kind of album it's going to be, and my first comment after listening to that was, oh, that kind. Already the drummer is excellent, sick double bass work and excellent fills. Guitars are really good. I can appreciate the vocals, but I need more time to decide for sure. A very good start to the album.
Cool. Going on to Fleur de Lis. Correct?
Yeah.
Good.
It's definitely not Fleur Dillis.
I'm Fleur Delis from Norwich.
From Norwich.
So I fucking really like this track. This feels like where the vocals properly shine for the first time. The somewhat slow and soft pace of the vocals against the heavy, fast-paced instrumentals works very well. Great guitar work throughout. Best track thus far.
Yeah, cool. I said continuing on a really good spot. Musically and immediately solid band. Rate their drummer a lot, and the singing is growing on me, though lyrics in parts of this track aren't hugely inspired in my opinion, but still a really good track.
Okay. So, The Day the World Stood Still.
I swear that's a film.
That's the day after tomorrow.
Fair enough.
Maybe. Quite liking the slower pace, which is a nice change from what we've heard so far. Showing that they can adjust to multiple styles, and as you can hear, they do that well. I'm noticing some similarities between this band and old school Black Tide. This is the warrior of time. Oh, we are the warriors of time. You know what? It's been years.
But I'm not familiar.
That's what I got.
Fair.
Which isn't a bad comparison. I mean that in a good way.
No, that's cool. Yeah, I put not bad at all. Album's really grown on me. Good opening into a fairly good track. I think my co-host is not a fan by this point, and I can safely say that because I like it. So yeah,
Smooth.
I'm shocked. Yeah, tones in the song are really sick, and it all comes together really well. Perhaps my fave so far, especially after that solo. Sick solo. There's quite a few of them.
There are. Stigmata. Straight back in there with those faster, beefier riffs. This song has it all: the thrill, the calm, and the one sexy ass solo at the end. Potential top track. That's it.
Fair. Musically, they're really strong. The vocals take a swing for me. In certain songs, they work really well. But in some songs, I feel like they kind of add to this feeling of making it sound samey, even though the tracks are really diverse. I don't know if that was just me. Certainly by this point, I was a bit like, okay, they're all sung differently. Spoiler alert, that changes. Yeah, fucking really good song. Can't fault them at this point, apart from not being overly sure on the vocals thus far.
Cool. Surrogate. Just like my mother.
Wow.
She's a real person. She gave birth to me.
She's a real person.
She is. Met her once. Another good track from the band. Nothing over the top, worth mentioning, but enjoyable all the way through.
Yeah. See, the vocals work better in this one for me. I really like the track. Has a very full sound and comes together in just the right way. Guitars and drums are totally beast throughout the song. Maybe could have had a sick solo, but regardless, it's my fave so far and playlisted.
Oh, really?
Yes, so that's interesting.
So we have got some differences. Seventh Heaven. Damn, that riff is good. That, accompanied with the catchy vocals, makes a pretty great track. The solo was simplistic for what I expected for this track, but I enjoyed it. Stopping. Great riff, catchy vocals, great track. Solo was simplistic for what I expected for this track. Could have been more, but I enjoyed the drums going along with it. This track had potential to be top track to begin with, but the change of pace after the solo just did not work on this track. True shame. As much as my reading skills, true shame.
So Seventh Heaven, brutal guitar work when it actually drops, and perfect drums to accompany. Immediately for me needs heavier vocals personally. Chorus is well sung, don't get me wrong, but the heavy guitar opening just calls for some like growls or something, but I guess that's not their sort of thing. But there is an awesome solo that perfectly belongs where it is in the song, and it's a really good track. Oh yeah. Forgotten World.
An alright track, but lacks anything exciting. I really hope this isn't where the album falls. That's it.
Fair enough. Falling under the samey category, I'm afraid. Can't say enough good things about the music itself, and the solo is fucking great for the song. It's simple enough and just perfect for it. Just fits really, but yeah, a bit too much like some of the rest of the songs. But yeah, still a good track.
Called The Face That Launched 1,000 Ships. It has a few off moments, but this is actually a fairly good track. Well, a fairly good attempt at a ballad for this band. Enjoyable for the most part.
Yeah, I can really appreciate this. It's not my favourite on the album by far, but it demonstrates diversity, and while it's not for me personally in a few ways, I will admit the vocals work extremely well here, and the solo is fucking blistering. I mention these solos a lot, but they're great because they're in line with the songs that surround them. I think that's kind of a strong suit for them, is that fitting in like the guitar work around what's kind of going on elsewhere in the song is a really strong suit for them.
Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. So back to normal scheduling here. Great track that changes pace but does it right. Continuously loving some of the guitar work here.
Yep, I literally put yes. Good opening. Not feeling the vocals as much for this one, but definitely not bad. Average song for me until the quiet section before yet another great solo. The guitarists are talented as fuck, and their drummer is made for them entirely.
Yep. Schmitter. Not a bad track. It certainly has some worthwhile elements, but nothing to shout home about. Hopefully the final track delivers.
So I put this is a really cool track, mostly just because immediately with the at the beginning.
You like that?
Yeah, it was sick. Yeah, a better song for me. Feel like a broken record about the instrument, so I will say Death Key. But love the Arabian style, man. Works really well. They kind of had like a bit of a Arabian, Egyptian kind of feel to some of the riff work.
Yeah.
Really fucking good.
So, Grave of the Fireflies, which obviously I listened to second, like you do with all Last songs. A slow start, but once it does eventually kick in, I am liking it. Powerful guitar parts throughout. I've got to give them credit here, putting an 8-minute and 9 song as the closing track. I originally wrote as the first full track. Is courageous, but it's still, as a closing track, it's still courageous for a band that's got like 5-minute songs to bust out 8-minute 9 as the last track. And it passed off my interest. And it paid off, sorry. My interest remained the whole time. I'm enjoying the plethora of sounds and instruments, and the somewhat unique vocal styles impress.
Yeah, I literally put long one, very quiet beginnings that I hope drop into introduce some meaner things. Progresses slowly and gets a bit better, but then drops back into a quieter thing before, you guessed it, another fucking awesome solo, like burningly good. Vocals are still swinging for me at this point in the album. I didn't actually realise this was the last song when I was listening to it because I just popped it on and just listened. Didn't look at the track listing or anything until afterwards. But yeah, this song demonstrates that they can be great, and not so. I don't know what the fuck I've put there. Basically, the vocals are really good in a lot of the songs. There are just a couple of songs that I felt like called for slightly heavier vocals, but if that's not their thing as a band, then you have to appreciate that's not their thing as a band. I really like the fade out at the end of the song. It was a good touch. Perhaps could have done with being a little bit shorter, but other than that, really fucking good track and a really good way to end the album. Overall, what did you think, sir?
Overall, so I should have said at the beginning to get more tension going, but I didn't. I fell asleep twice while listening to this, and that is not a bad thing. It was just so chilled that I just kept on falling asleep.
Yeah.
I was trying, yesterday I was like, I'm going to do this nice and early. And I fell asleep like 5 songs in. I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, I've lost my afternoon. Now I'm going to get drunk. Right. So, overall, I really enjoy this album. Yeah, it falls flat at times, but there's not a bad song on it. Very excited to see them open for Bridge in December, as previously mentioned. If they provide live and continue this creativity in their music, I can see big things for the band. The instrumentals are impressive throughout, and the addition of Matt James on vocals has clearly already made its mark. They've had like a multiple amount of albums, and his first album is this one.
I listened to the only other one that was on Spotify that was like, I don't know, maybe like 7 or 8 songs long. And yeah, immediately I was like, well, that's a different vocalist for sure. But yeah, I mean, fucking yeah, he's definitely a much better fit. I only listened to a couple of tracks from that, but he's an immediate better fit for the band than the previous vocalist.
Sweet.
So. Overall, I said, yeah, man, really enjoyed this. I'll address the vocals on a starting point of saying that the vocal ability is actually fantastic. He has got a really good voice and he can reach some great notes. And it's not a comment on the ability at all. He's a great singer, just not necessarily the thing that I want personally for all of these songs. Like, and even then, that's just that there was always a call for a little bit of a growl on some of the songs. Like, just some heavier vocals introduced would have been pretty sick. Probably would have made it spot on for me, really. I get the same thing with Spencer from Periphery, who he actually sounds quite like in some ways. Musically, though, this is a solid album with many, many commendations to be made. And then the next part is on to my number, so I'll let you.
Well, this week we went a bit crazy, right, in the group chat. We decided to guess each other's ones without knowing any of our thoughts. So I guessed that you would choose 7, and you guessed I'd choose 4.
I did guess you would choose 4, and I'm so wrong on that.
Yeah, I obviously predicted the wrong way round. I should predict myself to choose 7 because that's exactly what I've done.
Interesting. I very nearly went 8, but I'm going to go with my revised thought of 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I was right about yours.
You absolutely were, and I was so far off yours it hurts my face.
Double 7.
7-7.
You
fucking really good effort for a band that I've never heard of at all.
Keep your ears peeled.
Yeah, 100%. I'm obviously hoping to go and see Alter Bridge in Birmingham, and if they are Birmingham. If they're opening for them, then I'm fucking fully excited to see them.
Yeah, pumped, bro. Cool, let's get this motherfucking topic on the road.
Promotion of belief in music.
Yes, so I've stuck a couple of questions at each of subcategories.
So have I.
Have you all tasted?
They're specific questions to each one, though. They're not the same voting for that.
Mine are the same all the way around, so we can ask all of them.
That is a fucking good idea.
Yeah, I like it. Taste me.
Cool. So I started off with punk rock and anti-establishment because I figured, for me and the music that I was brought up on, especially, that was kind of the most relevant thing.
Sorry, I'm really sorry. Say your entire sentence again. I was not listening to you.
See what?
Say that again. I wasn't listening.
I started off with punk rock and anti-establishment. Bruce Farley says, "I'm here, by the way."
Oh, lovely. Hello.
Hi, Bruce. Fish off. No, it's fine. Yeah, punk rock and anti-establishment.
So yes, how have you laid yours out? So I've got mine obviously different to yours because we didn't plan it around this.
No, but then we kind of wouldn't have been able to do that without it being abundantly like. Part of this is obviously that we want to have a discussion about it and kind of freeball with it anyway. So
Yep.
I'll list out my subcategories in the order that I listed them in. We don't have to follow them in that order. So I've done punk rock and anti-establishment, vegan metal, religion. I start off with Christian metal, but go into some other religions that appear, even one that you wouldn't necessarily expect to find. No, actually, I mean, I would somewhat expect that. Jewish metal band sounds more plausible than a Scientologist in metal.
Yes.
Sexism, sexualism, sex, and then racism in metal, and they are my subcats.
So my subcats are politics as a whole.
Excellent.
Then we've got activism, which goes into multiple things. So it starts off with environmentalism.
Cool.
There's a tiny bit on country differences.
Interesting.
And then we go on to race, then sexism, then homophobia, then finally religion.
Cool.
I didn't get a chance to get any veganism.
That's fine. So we'll do the religion last, I think.
Yeah.
That's definitely going to be quite an extensive one. Activism encompasses so many things. That's probably going to be a big one. So let's start with punk rock and anti-establishment.
Do it.
So punk rock had obviously a huge underground movement from around the early to mid 70s. Bands like Ramones, Bad Brains, The Clash, Misfits. The stronger message in all of their music being sort of anti-government, teen-styled angst, and the rejection of mainstream sellout music, so-called dubbed sellout music. And in that sense, what we saw was like a resulting backlash from youth towards like authoritative figures. So obviously we've probably all seen videos of like the Hollywood Boulevard, whatever it is. Fucking, that is the name of the street, isn't it? Like where all of the fucking clubs are in Hollywood anyway, and like all of the fucking like rock and metal clubs, underground clubs.
Should probably find that out.
Seattle, yeah, definitely. Seattle was obviously a big place for underground punk at the time as well, like massive. I think people underestimate. Most people really only sort of focus on California as like the haven of punk back in those days, when in actual fact I would say in some ways Seattle was probably bigger for like the entrance from like punk into grungy type rock, I guess. Like Seattle was kind of like the hotspot for that, but still like a massive hotspot for loads of underground punk bands at the time. So yeah, that's kind of the first thing that I wanted to address, really, just because, like I said, it's similar to a lot of music I've been brought up on. The Clash is a band that have been played for my entire life, and Misfits as well. The interesting thing with this is that obviously the kind of message is like the rejection of mainstream sellout music, and then I can't see a single person that has never worn like a Ramones t-shirt. There are people that don't even know who the fuck they are. Like, so yeah, Bad Brains I put on the list because they are, well, they were originally an underground band that played with bands like the Germs quite a lot, which one of the guitarists from Foo Fighters was originally in the Germs. Ooh, hey. But yeah, Bad Brains are a very underground sort of band that most people don't have a clue who they are, and then when you listen to their music, it is literally like an acid trip. It's just that kind of level of speed, and I can't understand a single fucking word that you're saying. But yeah, obviously within its crowd was really popular, and sort of we've all seen videos of like kick out at these clubs where there'd be fucking loads of fights and people getting into shit with the police that were just there trying to like make sure that nobody drunkenly stabbed another person or something. And then, it was a dangerous thing to be a police officer in
I
Hollywood at
can
that sort
fucking
of time.
imagine, yeah.
Um,
Especially with the uprise of punks.
so I guess punk rock almost became defined by the promotion of youth rebellion.
Anarchy.
Yeah, literally anarchy in the UK. Fucking, that is a spot on message for everything that encompasses. So how do we feel about this message? Is my first question. Do we think that it's a good vibe to set, or
It has to be done right. But yes, in a way, going against the establishment is kind of what metal and punk is based, what its roots are based on anyway, not necessarily now. You've still got your bands, which we'll get to later about that kind of stuff. But yeah, I feel like it's a good thing to do, but in the right way. Trashing joints and stuff like that is not necessarily the way to go about it.
absolutely? So, do you feel that message had an especially widespread outcome? So you've kind of answered that in the sense that it seems like you kind of feel like the birth of like a bulk of the message in a lot of punk rock and metal bands kind of comes from that.
Yeah, it's fighting the man. But yeah, what was the word in the question? Sorry.
Do you feel that this message had an especially widespread outcome?
Yeah.
Yeah. Discuss, define,
Well, like I said before,
defend.
so again, it wasn't done the right way at times, but that message was made. Like we talk about history of bands, and especially with punks, that's the biggest thing you hear about is the changes they made to the system. Did they make many changes? Maybe not so many, but were they heard? Yeah. Like you couldn't escape the message at that point.
Absolutely.
And like I say, long it's not just punks with metal. A lot of that is like, yeah, fuck the government,
Yeah,
fuck the
fair.
police.
Fuck the police. So, what is your take on the notion that bands like The Clash and Ramones gaining popularity meant that the underground bands dubbed them as traitors of the genre? Because obviously, yeah, bands like Ramones started getting quite popular, and a lot of bands that I guess were kind of determined not to get popular for that reason, kind of started dubbing them as outcasts and traitors of the genre. So, what's your sort of take on that?
Answer will be the same for any genre that has that kind of shit, and that is fuck those people that hated on them and called them traitors. Bands like if you want to give a message,
You
get
want it to be
bigger.
widespread, and you
Yeah,
want more people
so
to listen
be
to
the fucking
it.
biggest band in the country, be the biggest band in the world. You're gonna get your message heard by hundreds of thousands more, millions more.
Yeah,
There's no point trying to spread a message if you're like, well, I don't want to play to more than 400 people. Sorry, mate. No, it makes no sense to me.
fair. Anything that you wanted to add to punk rock and anti-establishment? Have we got any other bands? I suppose more modern ones, as a good example, would be Rage.
Yeah, I've got some stuff on politics as a whole.
Yeah, I think that will probably flow quite nicely onto that. So yeah, go hit me with the rhythm deck.
Politics, I wrote fucking probably the most for this. So I'll just start reading off, then go from there. So from the start of metal, political content has been part of the lyrics we hear in music. Black Sabbath took the occasional dig at the political world around them. War Pigs, for example, is aimed at the rule makers engaging in the pointless Vietnam War. Move to today, there's plenty of bands using their music to promote their beliefs, or more likely to fight what they're against. The biggest names are Rage Against the Machine, more recently Prophets of Rage, Green Day as well. Rage Against the Machine specifically have never shied away from politics, with that theme going throughout their whole career, to be honest. These days, Prophets of Rage have made a lot of digs at President Trump and are very against his ways. On British soil, we've got Architects, whose lyrical content shuns the political parties in charge at the time of their writing. For example, Gravedigger is a very big dig at British politics. Even says Vulture, another Vulture in a velvet, an iron fist in a velvet glove, another Vulture posing as a dove. They're all about politics. They're all meant to look good, but they're actually cunts.
Yeah,
Pretty simply. Especially the Tories.
a pretty poetic way of putting it as well, quite frankly.
Fucking great lyrics, yeah. So it shows that the vast majority of metal bands that involve politics in their music are left wing. It's very rare to find pro-Trump or pro-Tory lyrics in metal. That's not to say every member of every band is left wing. That's definitely not the case.
As we will discuss.
Yeah, but I feel that a lot of people that actually sing about politics or create music about politics, they seem to be the left wing ones. Right wingers seem to keep it a bit quieter.
So Bruce Farley has asked, do you know what country the anti-discrimination ban comes from? Just wondered because the Hitler salute, just out of interest. I have no fucking
In
clue.
the photographs, You mean in the photographs? Because if that's the case, it's Watain, and Watain are possibly Swedish, and I believe that member was kicked out of
Oh,
the
really?
band. Yeah,
Mad.
I'm not sure if that's shown to fans, but if it is, that's them.
I mean,
Watain.
it's in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's didn't know who they were actually, to be fair, and wondered if they were actually a band or if it was just like a kind of posy thing. I don't know, but interesting.
Yeah, not British, American, or German. So yeah, bands seem to be left wing that speak about politics. So anything you want to add into that before I ask my questions?
No, politics is. I think you covered that quite nicely.
Yep. So with politics, this same question will be for everything we go
Yep.
through. Question one: do you like politics in music?
I definitely think it has its place,
Right.
100%. I think music is like a perfect outlet. Bands like Architects are a prime example of that because to be creative about something shows that you think about it a lot. You have very mixed opinions on it. So it's more than, I think if like politics in music literally was people going on stage and screaming down the microphone about how they hate Trump. Speaking of Trump, fucking hell, mate.
Good timing.
Yeah, I think if people would kind of just literally like reeling off their opinions, there'd probably be less. I don't know. Yeah, like less enthusiasm from my end. But the fact is, when bands are willing to sort of throw creativity at it, like those kind of lyrics and Architects that make you think about it, it's kind of like, yeah, come down to my level. Here's how much I think about this, and here's like the different interpretations from this. Bruce Farley says tar,
Tar.
tar,
Tar, dude.
tar. But yeah, I think definitely has its place. Certainly, if there was somehow like a ban on talking about any form of politics, even like underlying connotations of politics in songs, I think a lot of artists would probably struggle at that
Yeah.
point because it's quite a heavy theme in a
Yeah,
lot of
for
music
sure.
nowadays. What about
So
yourself?
yeah, I've answered all these as well. So do I like politics and music? Yes, I do. The odd song here and there though. But I don't care for bands that make a career of it. I want more layers in my music than just politics.
So like Rage, then basically.
Yeah, I don't like Rage anyway because they're vocalists, but they are pretty much here's politics for everything we ever written.
Yeah.
And I don't care for it enough. I know they go on different things. It's not just fuck Trump or fuck Obama, which I wouldn't do, but yeah, anyone like that. I didn't mean actually fucking anyway. So yeah, I don't care if Architects brought out Gravedigger and then 7 more songs about politics. I was like, this is not so cool. I need more. I need some like more life to it.
Yeah.
Second question: would it put you off a band if their views were against yours through their music? Not necessarily behind the scenes, because there's some bands I like that I don't care. I don't agree with what they think, but they don't make music about it. But if like a band you enjoyed was suddenly like, we love whoever you don't love politically, and they were promoting it, would it put you off?
It's a tough one actually because assuming that one of the reasons that I like this band are the things that they sing about, because ultimately that's a pretty important factor.
Yeah.
So let's take for example then, like pro-Trump metal as a thing.
Right.
Yeah, I would struggle to listen to that, I think.
Yeah, I've put a straight yes for that answer.
Yeah.
If a band came out, even if they were like technically really good, if their songs were just like, let's cage some immigrants and take their children away because Trump wins, love Trump, I'd be like, all right, thanks.
Yeah, literally. I think obviously maybe not to those extents. I think everyone deserves to have a platform to voice their opinions, but when it
Again,
starts coming to a place where you're shoving it in other people's faces, it's basically like the same thing if somebody approached me on the street and was really trying to shove like a pro-Trump leaflet in my face, I would probably be the type of guy that would politely say no for a few times, and then if they were insistent, I would be like, all right, and then I'd take the leaflet and burn it in front of their face. Like I would do the same to their music. Really, it would be like, okay, I don't want to listen to this, but if it then was like started ramming down everyone's throats, then I'd probably be like, okay, nah, fuck off.
yeah,
Secure.
Yeah, same.
So just to let you know, we can't actually see the comments up on the screen today, but I believe Do you have a workaround? Are you able to?
I've got comments here, but I'm rapidly running out of battery because that's what my phone does now.
Oh, okay. Fair.
So
You should
we
probably
may
get that looked at.
get a new phone regardless.
Yeah. But that's fine. We will try to sort that issue out. Cool.
You got good battery?
50%. There is a charger that is miraculously coming out of the ether.
There's no point trying to charge my phone because I have to fucking put it in for like 10 minutes before it works properly.
Okay.
Yep, I have a shit phone. And now my headphone port doesn't even work anymore. Right, falls out.
Oh yeah,
Like
this is a
flaccid
USB.
penis.
This is a micro USB. I need a USB-C anyway, so and I'm pretty sure you do as well. So I'm just going to give this cable back to the ether. Thank you, ether, very much.
What have you got next on your list?
Vegan metal.
Cool, that fits in with overall activism. So
Yeah.
that's where I'm at next too. So fucking fly with it.
So many current artists are known activists for things like veganism and animal rights. Bands like Architects have mentioned in many interviews that they support this.
Yeah.
However, there is a large difference between stating so in an interview and actually crafting music to promote. So, interestingly enough, I found an article titled 7 Vegan Songs.
Okay, great.
Not necessarily what we would review or anything on here, but certainly within the parameters of the genre anyway. So it kind of provided a good overview and documents artists like Prince with Animal Kingdom, a New York hardcore band Youth of Today with No More, which is basically a song that comments on the price paid being the life of another every time that they eat an animal. And that got me thinking, there's a difference between sort of having, like, even if you're going to like craft music about it, there's a difference between sort of thinking like, I don't like eating animals myself, but then the first question I had to ask you really was kind of an interruption in the middle of my thing because I thought of it on the spot and was like, I'm going to write that down before I forget it. And didn't. But I remembered. So do you feel like, take that as an example then,
Take that.
no,
Great band.
Youth of Today with No More, with some of the lyrics being the price paid being the life of another, is almost kind of like riddled with guilt. It's almost like a way of, if they're a hardcore band, there's almost like a way of them like shouting down the microphone at people that you should feel guilty every time that you eat an animal.
That's militant vegans all over though.
Militant vegans. So
Not all vegans.
does it have its place in music?
It's a tough one. I feel like, hello, Jamie Price. I feel like, again, putting your view out there that you feel like you should be vegan is fair, but saying, oh, look at you cunts, you're eating meat, you should probably die for it, is definitely over the top and unnecessary. I don't care to hear it.
Yeah, that's fair. Perfectly agree.
Oh, hey, Rob. Rob's watching.
Ah, the Sami.
Wildcat. I can say some back now. So.
Yes, sir. Don't know if there are any other comments in there, but I can only see pretty much from where I've watched from, so we're going to roll with that. So yeah, I thought that was quite interesting. These are potentially strong messages that could make someone think about the ramifications, but could also leave somebody feeling guilty, was kind of my overall thing with that. Does thought, like provoking thought, does that have a place in music? Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Does guilt tripping people for eating meat have a place in music? Not so much in my opinion. So yeah, that was my first question. And the next question is, do you think the message could be received with any kind of danger? Like, if it's a very far-fetched example, but let's say somebody that had eaten meat for all of their life listened to a song by a band that they really enjoyed. So take this hardcore band that I've never heard of. If they were a massive, massive fan of the band and decided on a whim, right, well, they're vegan, I'm going to become vegan, and knew nothing about being vegan, knew nothing about the nutritional value of eating meat, and therefore didn't compensate for it by getting like protein from other sources, or even in like drastic fucking far-fetched measures, if they were like allergic to eggs and couldn't get protein from eggs or something like that, is there any danger in sort of guilting people like that, do you feel?
No, because I feel like if you're going to be guilted into something, or if you're going to make that conscious decision and you don't look into it, you deserve to die.
Wow.
Like,
fuck.
it's just the Darwin effect, isn't it?
Fair.
Like if I'm like, oh shit, mate, I've never looked into veganism. I don't have any allergies, but you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna change my entire lifestyle. No, off you
No.
fuck.
Oh, for fuck. Yeah, fair. I thought that was quite an intriguing question to ask at this point, actually, just purely because it's like, well, yeah, I don't know, really. I think,
I'm all up for people. I will point out as well. I'm all up for people changing to being a vegan. I've been tempted into the the light side by maybe going vegetarian because I feel like they're on their way to get enough meats that are vegan meats, which aren't meats, to quench my meat thirst.
there's enough options out there
Yeah.
now that, like, there are some that you just cannot taste the difference.
No, the vegan burgers is at a particular work establishment, a restaurant establishment even. And also at other supermarkets they sell vegan steaks. They taste fucking amazing. The Verva ones are great. Yeah, some free promotion there. Yeah, they taste
Buy their
amazing.
merch.
I could never go vegan due to cheese.
There.
Right, because I've tried vegan cheese. My
Disgraceful.
madre had a vegan pizza, and you know what? On that, the vegan cheese wasn't too bad. I've had standard vegan cheese, and it's just rubbish shit.
Yeah.
And I want my Applewood. I want my Mexicana.
Applewood, definitely, yeah.
So
Very strong choice.
I'm all
there.
up for bands changing people's minds, opening up a new insight, but not going, you're an asshole if you're not vegan.
Yeah, fair. So that kind of brings us nicely onto activism then, as a whole. So
let's bust up my two for veganism.
yeah.
Do you like veganism in music?
I think, yeah, again, it's like to the level that it's promoted at. I think if you're trying to make me feel like a cunt because I like a steak, then I'm not even angry. I'm not even mad at that because it's just not going to have any effect. I will literally laugh in your face with steak in between my teeth.
Good image in my head now, thanks. I got my toy, son.
I'm gonna go flowers. I'm gonna save that bit for Ron later on. Mate. So Jamie Price says beetroot burgers are gonna rule the world. I will stab you in your sleep.
I hate beetroot burgers.
I fucking hate.
I hate beetroot. Sorry.
I hate beetroot.
But the vegan burger at a particular restaurant establishment is made from coconut oil, beetroot, and mushrooms. I hate two of those three things and don't care for coconut oil, but together somehow it works.
Fair. Do you know what? If Jamie, if you can introduce me to a beetroot burger that I don't immediately want to vomit back into my lap, then by any means, try me. You're paying. I love you, but what's wrong with you, man? Beetroot is just not fucking right in the world, quite frankly.
Oh, mate, I just thought about it. Coleslaw would have to fucking. I love coleslaw, mate.
I fucking hate coleslaw.
Yeah, well, I hate you. So yeah, do you like veganism in music?
I'm all for people again having a platform to voice how they feel about things, but don't guilt me for feeling the way that I feel about things.
Would you like it? Would you, if it was just like, if you're non-guilt, would you enjoy the music because of it?
If it was good music, yeah, why not?
Cool. So, whereas politics, I said yes, I do like it, but few and far between. This is all personal stuff. I don't want it to be out of music, but I wouldn't want veganism in music because I would either so for veganism, I don't really care to hear it because it's not really my thing. Against veganism, I care about it even less because I don't see why you'd be so against veganism.
Jamie Price says done, mate. Oh, perhaps should have not put myself forward for that.
As for would it put you off if the bands were against your views? No, it wouldn't put me off so much. Again, like if there's a song about veganism, it's not going to put me off the band. So it's complete opposite to politics. Whereas I like politics, but if they're against me, I wouldn't want to be into it. I don't care to hear politics and veganism in music, but if they were against my views, which is they are vegan, I wouldn't give a shit.
Fair enough. So, other forms of activism. Hit me.
Yes. So started off with a little one because there's not much to talk about and there's not really any questions on it either. So just a little note to, well, it says moving on to, because it's the second part, country differences. It's worth pointing out that with activism, in 2013, Israel's orphaned land and Palestine's callous both toured together to send a message of coexistence, which I thought was a really nice touch.
Yeah.
Because not everyone in those two countries are, well, I'm certainly on one country's side, but not everyone in either of those countries are all bad people.
No.
Like, there are definitely Israelis that want peace. There are Palestinians that really want to stay at their own fucking house, not get bombed. But
Yeah, for sure.
staying away from that topic.
Yeah, before we're talking about whether or not we agree with politics on the podcast.
Yeah. So yeah, that's
yeah,
just a
firmly
little
agree.
touch.
Firmly agree.
But going on to the first thing I had written, and I still have it written down. Great.
Excellent.
This ink doesn't disappear.
That's impressive.
Without water.
Water.
We live in a world now where there are a lot of things. I'm sorry. We live in a world now where a lot of things that should have changed a long time ago are finally changing.
Mm-hmm.
That's an overall of activism. Starting with the environment. It's not just the legend that is Sir David Attenborough trying to change the world for the better. Bands like Gojira and Architects, who have partnered with Sea Shepherd Conservation Society, are doing their bit at raising awareness of environmental issues.
Yeah, fair.
Oh my god. Oh, yours too.
Yeah, it's alright.
Take it back, y'all. That's what I've got to say on environmentalism. It's not too much, but again, if there's that content in that music, would it attract you to a band? For me, yeah, as long as again not too much.
Yeah, I think pretty much any message rammed to the absolute fucking core down your throat, it stands the reason of being a bit like, no,
Stop.
But yeah, overall, definitely a good message to promote if you're gonna.
Yeah. Would it put you off if the band's views were against yours with environmentalism? I can only imagine a band going, throw your plastic in the ocean.
Literally.
And buy loads of straws.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest, it absolutely would put me off.
Yeah. It wouldn't put you off to the extremes of politics, but I would just think, who is
I mean, that's
twat?
interesting because, quite frankly, politicians, yeah, all right, they kind of have the ability to fuck everything up for the rest of the world, but if people are promoting fucking up the world, then even politicians are fucked, so...
Yeah. But why I say less so is that I just think this guy's a fucking nutter. Why is this person like trying to damage the planet? But then, and it's like it's got a bit of your morals in there if you think you're doing that. But then I think if you're promoting someone like Trump, that's a bigger bit of your morals that are seen fundamentally fucked.
So are you saying that a Trump supporter is worse than somebody that would literally kill like a fuck ton of animals and fish by not getting rid of their waste properly and over consuming? And
I'm not saying they're a worse person, because some out there Trump supporters are fine in the depths. But
they're shackled.
and no one that throws plastic. But I'm not gonna. If someone on Facebook's like, "Oh, I can't believe they banned plastic straws. This is fucking annoying," I have multiple times I've said to him like, "What the fuck? This is stupid." But I feel like there's a lot more wrong with your average Trump supporter than there is with someone that wants to keep straws.
Fair. Can't argue with
that. Next up on activism. So have you got a bit on race?
Yes.
Cool. We'll hold off for that for a second then. Sexism?
I've got a whole thing.
Whole thing?
A whole thing on sexism, sexualism, and sex. So.
Homophobia?
I think I've actually put that under race, just because it was that kind of like hatred against a particular type of person or race. So we can go on that now. Yeah,
homophobia for now. So only a little bit again to speak about certain things. So fun fact for you, which isn't fun whatsoever. Members of Dragon Force, I think it was 3 members, used to be in a different band. Don't know who they were called, but they had a song called "Kill All the Faggots."
Wow.
And unfortunately, that word is used often in the metal community still. I didn't want to touch on the Korn song "Faggot" because I'm not sure the lyrical content. I have time to look into it, but I know that I remember seeing that in a Kerrang interview like 5 years ago when they were talking about homophobia in metal. I can't find it now because it's in a magazine somewhere in the depths. So yeah, unfortunately, fag or faggot is used often, and it's a derogatory term.
Yeah.
I'm guilty of using it, not in the context of a quote just then, but I'm guilty of using it in my past. I've stopped or trying to keep it down just because it's one of those words that are said around, but I didn't, at the time, I was younger and didn't realise the severity of it.
This is the thing though, when you were younger, it was meant as like a jokey kind of insult kind of thing. There's nothing funny about it, but it's like designed that way. Whereas if you were faced with somebody that was gay, you're not the type of person that would ever dream of saying something like that to somebody to actually like offend their sexuality. So
No, I think the way that I had a colleague who is homosexual, and I think I said it around him, but it was more of a topic of conversation. I wasn't calling him it for certain. I wasn't calling anyone else around him it. I think just came up in conversation, like I like discussing topical things on a fucking podcast. And he said basically to him, faggot is the N word to black people. Like, that's how severe gay people take that word. Like, it's the one thing you should not say to a gay person.
maybe not necessarily in entirety, because to caveat that, I actually had a friend back in Stantonbury that was like super gay and loved being super gay. Like fully promoted it, and to be fair, I had the height of absolute respect for him for how he just did not give a fuck. Like he would overly like not push it in your face in like a bad way, and definitely not in that way.
Didn't think that too.
But like would ultimately like didn't give a fuck. He just wanted everyone to know about it because it was like, well, this is who I am, and I would rather identify like part of the conversation that we ended up having about it. So basically, he had a house party, and I stayed around his house on my own the night before to help him set it up the day after. Lots of people in school started talking about that afterwards, like it was something to talk about. And it was really interesting that happened because that night we actually did get into quite an in-depth discussion about like how, because I basically said, you're to somebody that's not gay, how open you are about being gay to me is like, to you it's probably like it's just a regular day in the office kind of thing, but to me it's kind of like I fully respect that and commend that because that's like bravery that because I don't
especially
feel
in
that
school
way.
life, yeah.
Exactly. And we got that kind of like sparked a massive discussion about it where he sort of opened up and said, like, truth be told, I have two options, and this is the way that I see it. I can either be the way that I am about it, let the entire world know, and quite frankly, if somebody's going to outline that as a problem, I'd rather know about it straight away, kind of thing, because they're somebody that I'd rather avoid. Or I could be really defensive about my sexuality and probably get bullied to absolute fuckery about it. And that was actually a valid point because the guy never got bullied in school. People started talking about that because they were like, oh, is this guy gay too? Like, is kind of thing. And I just thought that was really quite funny because, like, I mean, I didn't feel the need to defend it at all. I don't really give a fuck what people think, especially not back then in that school because it was full of fucking chabby bellends.
The cheesiest kind.
The cheesiest kind. So I didn't really feel the need to defend it. It was actually quite amusing watching people. The cheesiest kind, really. Yeah, I actually kind of embraced that in a way because it was interesting watching people think that they were being sly about talking about you behind your back when you're just like, I know exactly what you're talking about, you absolute twats. Like, so it was quite funny watching that kind of like spiral out a little bit until Anthony was actually like, right, I'm going to put a fucking stop to this now and put some people in their place pretty fucking savagely about it. As the stereotype with gay people is, I guess, especially in school in my experience, they're really fucking savage and bitchy when they want to be. And he definitely took it to the absolute max and really destroyed a few people like in the middle of class one day, and I laughed hysterically.
Yeah.
But I just always thought like that really, really changed my views on everything. Like I already had kind of like respectful views towards him specifically, but the way that he was about it and the way that he dealt with the situation that came up afterwards was really quite, yeah, I don't know, that kind of changed my view on it forever, really. I would never...
inspiring at points, I guess.
100% for me, yeah.
So, on a complete opposite to your friend who was out at school, Rob Halford, singer, frontman of Judas Priest, stayed in the closet for 27 years.
Yeah, man.
And to me that sounds crazy, but those were obviously different times.
Mm-hmm.
Another person a lot more recently, Laura Jane Grace, came out as transgender and has since spoken about this a fair point through her music in Against Me, the band. So she had full sex change.
Yeah.
I remember I never heard of Against Me until this happened because it was in Quran. And I think it's happened around the same time that this interview happened about corn faggot and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, Shit, I've never thought about transgender in music, in metal. Sorry, it's just not something you really hear about. I was like, I bet she gets a lot of shit. I never looked more into it. I remember her. I saw the interview with her, saying obviously some adjustments were made. Her band members were completely behind her from the start, if not all, if not some, if not all. It's a big thing to go through for her. And obviously, within band members, it's still a big change for them. They're still got to
Yeah,
adjust to it because suddenly, I don't know what her male name was, but we'll go with Nigel. Suddenly, Nigel is now Laura Jane Grace,
yeah,
and obviously that's a big thing to anyone to go to. I've had mates that have changed
yep,
or are
same.
changing, and I've had enemies that have done the same as well. So yeah, that's that. That's all I've got on homophobia. But I don't know. I can't really think of many bands that advocate towards homophobia, apart from maybe black metal Nazi bands, which we
Black
shall
metal,
touch
Nazi
into.
bands, and well, yeah, just like Nazi bands, Nazi punk bands.
Yeah, I mean,
We will definitely
Dragon
touch
Force
more on that.
members. So I haven't written this down, but their excuse, who was interviewed about it, said, "Why did your old band have a song called that name, Kill All the Faggots?" He said, "Oh, we all wrote different songs, so whoever wrote that, it was their thing. That's none of us." So definitely just pass the buck there.
100%. I mean, that's yeah, way to avoid taking responsibility at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair.
So do you want to
Pretty disgusting.
nosy on back to? Do you want to go race or sexism first?
I think because we're kind of on the right path for it, let's move on to sexism,
Yeah.
sexualism, and sex.
Crikey. What a fucking
So
mess.
what did you do?
Just chaos.
Fair enough. We actually have a whole episode on sexism in metal.
We do?
Definitely our favorite episode still to this day, I think, because it was just the most engaging topic.
Yeah, check it out. Add to our over 1,000 views.
Um, so in that we kind of touched upon a lot of things really: vulnerability, success through sexualism, is enough being done for security at gigs, festivals with the whole banning of titty cams after a 14-year-old's tits got seen at Download. Yeah, pretty disgraceful stuff. But then we've got bands like Motley Crue that seem to promote getting fucked up and fucking anything with a pulse. And while it's like a musically good show, and I like some of their songs, the reality of the message is pretty demeaning and a bit gross, to be honest. So this is like a prominent thing for a lot of bands though, and it kind of seems to be rooted in excess. It's almost like part of the excess. So stuffing your nose full of cocaine all the time is like an excess. Drinking all the time after a show is like excess. It's shagging groupies has basically become like another excess. It's basically like another drug that rock stars feel like they need to sort of participate in. So there's that. Artists like Hailstorm, on the other hand, though, and in this moment are pretty vocal about women's rights.
Yeah.
I would personally argue that more needs to be done for that to be recognised, because I remember at Downloads last year, the lead singer from In This Moment had like a brief moment on stage where she kind of went through all of these sort of things, and like there was a big crowd response to it, but I remember being stood by a group of guys that basically like shrugged and laughed it off, kind of thing. And to me, that's just like, not really sure how I feel about that, because fair enough, you're entitled to your own opinion, but to the point where, you know, you're gonna like actually heckle somebody on stage that's like having the fucking balls, quite frankly,
Yeah.
to
No pun intended.
yeah, no pun intended whatsoever, but having the courage to sort of, you know, speak about something that for whatever reason is still kind of not highly accepted by, I mean, it is in the sense, like I would say the majority now appreciate that and would happily see more done to sort of promote that, but at the same time there are still quite big numbers of people that just don't care for that kind of message to be said. And while I don't understand that, I definitely think more needs to be done.
Yep.
And it's kind of made harder by people like Taylor Momsen, who we've had very large discussions about before.
A mutual dislike of.
Yeah, 100%. Purely because she literally sells her body through music, and vice versa. Sells her music through her body, kind of thing. And
Oh, just got a cassette in there, mate.
literally, yeah.
That was a vagina, by the way.
Fair enough.
That's not what the sound a woman makes when she's reaching for her vagina. I don't want to know her. Anyway, slightly sexist comment there.
Yeah,
As we
moving
were.
back to the topic, sexism, sexualism, and sex.
Yeah.
That's just wrong, man.
I'm just a crazy cat.
So, would you say anything on this front has changed since our sexism in metal episode? Like, have we seen any like big changes since then?
Well, let's talk about changes that we have solely made. Hailstorm played download and headline second stage, the first woman I believe to do so, and that was just a year after the only woman to ever be on the main stage headline slot was with Guns N' Roses, which is Heather Reese, something like that. Right, that's bad, but in fact, it's pretty good. I can remember her. She's very like unknown member compared to the rest of them.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, so we've had them, and like when Hizzy Lale, when Lizzie Hale was on stage at Download, like she mentioned it briefly, I believe, but afterwards she did a post and said like we've done this. This is for the women around us, obviously for the guys in the band as well. But it's a big thing for a woman to headline fucking Donington Download.
Fuck yeah.
Second stage is mad.
I mean, in a way, it shouldn't be as big as it is because it's like the fact that that has to be seen as a big deal is kind of like, wow, there is something seriously wrong here. Then, like the fact that it's an achievement that like 100% will get behind the fact that they're celebrating, but at the same time, like the fact that it's that big an achievement suggests there's a problem.
Yeah, like to an extent, I get that, but at the same time, you shouldn't headline something because you're a woman. You
No,
should headline for your worth, and Hailstorm have granted that for sure. They were fucking amazing, but then we get onto the touchy subject of equal pay and stuff like that for bands. I can't remember. Was it Haim? Maybe Haim backed out of something because they weren't being paid equally as Muse, the headliners. I'm like, you are getting paid for your worth, not because of your gender, but because of how many tickets you're going to bring in.
yeah,
Like, Haim got pretty big pretty quick. And if anyone's watching, correct me if I'm wrong on the bands, but yeah, I know there was a female band and a male band that were headlining, and they wanted the same pay, which is just fucking insane. Like, take a seat, you don't deserve the same pay, and that's not because you're a woman. It's not because they're men. It's because they're fucking huge.
the minute that you're on the headline slot and Muse are supporting you or further down the bill, and they're not going to get paid the same amount as you, sorted.
Yeah.
Like you deserve to
You
be
get
paid
for
for the
your slot,
headline
not
slot,
for your,
exactly.
Not for your genitals.
So Jeremy Price says, fucks me off when extreme metal fans write off female-fronted bands immediately, as well as you've got bands like Venom, Prison, and Ithaca,
Yeah,
who could wipe the floor with a lot of male death metal bands. And fucking Arch Enemy, there you go. Literally, you knew. That's why I blurred at you.
Lead singer is also a vegan.
There you are.
There.
But do you know what I mean? Like, her vocals are fucking deathly.
Yeah.
Like,
Shit, man.
and so yeah, completely agree, dude. Completely agree. More needs to be done about that, quite frankly.
Yep. Continue.
Yeah. So, do you have any questions on?
Have you finished with sexism as a whole?
Pretty much. That's all I wrote down. I feel like this is one of those things that we can talk about until the cows come home because it's something that we have talked about extensively for a very long time.
And I don't have cows. So yes, for me, I'll do my little bit. So, gonna give you 3 names: Gloria Cavalera, Wendy Dio, and Sharon Osbourne.
Right.
They are all huge names within metal, but they're behind the scenes. So Sharon Osbourne, Black Sabbath; Wendy Dio, Gloria Cavalera, Sepultura.
Right.
Because obviously Max Cavalera is his relative. So they're all massive behind in this. Those 3 names are massive in the metal world, but all behind the scenes, and all 3 of them have had sexist remarks made towards them quite a fair bit. Gloria Cavalera said that when Max Cavalera left Sepultura, not Soulfly, to do his own shit, everyone went straight away to blame her. It's like, you're a fucking bitch. Can't believe you've done this.
Wow.
Didn't blame him for leaving the band. Blamed the manager, Gloria, and said, you're a fucking bitch. How dare you? Woman can't be in control, kind of thing. This is what happens when a woman looks after a band. Sure, not all those are exact quotes, but go along with
it.
The
kind of vibe
that
is being set in that moment is that.
Yeah, so it is being called out a lot more these days by people such as Lizzie Hale, Hayley Williams, and Hannah Greenwood of Creeper. Hannah Greenwood specifically, I didn't write it down because I didn't have time, but she was going on stage and a group of guys shouted, "Hannah, you've got a nice arse," or something like that. And all she heard was Hannah, and she turned around like, okay, whatever. Went on stage with Creeper, who aren't exactly a massive band. They're big enough for how long they've been around, but they're not like this length of Lizzie Hale or Hayley Williams with Paramore and Hailstorm. Then she got on stage and then she found out afterwards, like, did you see what those people were saying, why they were laughing? And she found out that happened and she was so pissed off about it that she didn't get a chance to say something because she didn't realise what was going on. So she went on to, I'm guessing, Twitter and ranted about it, which is fair because you should be like, she's a fucking, I think she's the keyboardist of Creeper. Forgive me if I'm wrong. You should be calling out people for their arse when they go on stage. You're here to listen to music, not look at fucking arse.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so personally, what I found in a quick look today, from a brief look online, I'm not seeing too much lyrical content pushing sexism or against sexism. I'm sure there is. I'm sure there's this band called Nervous, the lead singer M drives my fucking nut in, and she just posts so much shit against like Frank Turner, who is a bellend, yes, and a Tory, but also some other stuff, and she needs to chill. But I'm sure that there's some lyrical content in Nervous or Milk Teeth that is anti-sexism, which I'm totally for. I hate sexism shit. In this day and age, like, there are some things that I don't agree with, like certain potential myths or other stuff. But we'll go to that now because I'll be the bad guy. I'm the bad guy, boy. But yeah, I can't really find too much lyrical content. So, with sexism as a whole,
no pun intended,
would you like sexism in music? Like, whether it's for sexism, weirdly, or anti-sexism?
I think again, I feel like a bit of a broken record with it, but I feel like in moderation, in its rightful place, 100%.
Yeah, same.
I mean, purely just from the viewpoint that nobody's really going to listen to, even people that are like anti-sexism are not going to listen to floods and floods and floods of music that just promotes anti-sexism. Eventually, you're going to be like, okay, talk about something else.
Yeah.
So purely from that viewpoint, I fully believe in the message, but I don't need to hear about it 24/7 to fully believe in that message at all.
Would it put you off if the band released pro-sexism music? I'm guessing that's against your views.
Yeah, it is against my views, and yes, it would.
Yeah, it would. Probably it's online politics, if not. No, it's online politics. I was about to say if not worse, but they're both really so shitty that I would not care if for some dude or some woman to say fuck men or fuck women.
Yeah.
Unless there's a lesbian saying fuck women or a gay man saying fuck men, and that's not really sexism. It's just sexual preference. Although I wouldn't really want to hear Judas Priest going, fuck man!
No, anyway. Yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah, that's fair enough. So yeah, sexism, sexualism, and sex. So I guess the other thing to ask as well is, with the sort of thing with bands like Motley Crue and the promotion of that, then do you feel like that's still kind of like prominent in today's?
It's definitely died down a lot now.
It has done since like the 90s, 80s.
I feel like at the time it was right to do it. Not necessarily right, like correct, but it was the right time to have that music. It was what was in. It was the 80s or 90s, like I said, and it's all about shagging. Great. Is it one-sided? Obviously, you wouldn't hear any women bands in those day and age talk about fucking men. Hailstorm did a song where she was all about fucking a man, which I wasn't too keen on because I feel like I get it. There's not many people that do that these days, especially, and if they did, it's more men fucking women. But the Lizzie Hale song, or the Hailstorm song, especially with her brother in the band, I wasn't so keen on it.
It's the same. It's got to be the same for both genders, really.
Yeah, I wouldn't care to hear it at all now.
Fair. So, what do you want to move on to next?
So my fat man, we'll move on to race.
Cool, yeah, racism in metal. So I kind of mostly focused on like Nazi punk, and it's been a term coined towards bands like the Vents, the Dentists, promotion of white power, to use the in-house term generated by these bands, promotion of hatred towards Jewish people, black people, gay people, transsexuals, even white people who disagree with their views on.
Yeah.
Because I've seen, I can never remember which band it was. It was like quite a highly despised Nazi punk band.
Horizon.
Basically, like, a guy took to Twitter stating that he's a white guy and he disagrees with these views, and they absolutely fucking shot him to bits online. And basically said that, like, you're a disgrace to white people if this is.
Yes, you're an awful white person if you don't hate everyone else.
Exactly, and that kind of shit is just like, are you fucking serious right now? So yeah, not keen at all.
No, not in slight.
So what needs to be done to stop this message from being accepted in these extremist groups, do you feel?
It's too difficult. It's so hard. The majority are not assholes and don't care about music, but what can be done to stop that music being heard? Nothing, because there are the people that are already instilled in their head to be racist or to hate certain cultures or colours or religions, and nothing can stop that. There's always going to be a want for it. You need better education when people are kids, but unfortunately, it's the racist adults that are teaching their kids how to feel in life.
Yeah, agreed. So what have you got for race?
The turtle and the bunny.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's my dad joke today. Anyway, so on to race. Unfortunately, this is still not in a great place overall, with white power / Nazi bands still alive,
Yep.
and with the Black Lives Matter movement currently hot in the USA, white movements want to be heard over this. Bands such as Banged Up and Embattled have been targeted by Antifa in America, and they attempted to get their shows cancelled. A choice I'm personally not keen with. So while I disagree with everything they stand for, everyone should have a voice, even if it's a shitty one.
Yeah.
So I
Okay.
feel like you shouldn't cancel those gigs. I just feel like something else could be done to try and teach. Maybe
So who's
protest
cancelled
something.
these gigs? Sorry, like
So
who?
Antifa went to the venue man and sent him, I think it was either 108 or 180 page document of how these bands were linked to neo-Nazism and all that kind of shit, white power.
Yeah.
So he felt pretty threatened by Antifa, but he said in an interview that they didn't just do that, they were very militant about it. And I've heard bad things about Antifa anyway. I feel like Antifa may have the right message, but I was shit about it.
Yeah.
They're probably militant arseholes. So the show was indeed performed, but it was at a private venue where Embattled post-show stated there were all types of races there. Unfortunately, yeah, so they did the gig at a private venue. Embattled said after the show there were all types of races there. This is not a racist event, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, you can't mention black metal without thinking about the overbearing links to Nazism.
Yeah.
In fact, there's a lot of white supremacy, misogyny, and overall hatred under the black metal tree. But of course, you can't paint every black metal band that way. Proven earlier this year by organisers, fans attending, and bands performing at the Black Flags Over Brooklyn Festival, a festival with the idea that black metal is for everybody except Nazis. An idea I can easily get behind.
Yeah. Agreed.
Pop out those questions again. Would Nazism put you off? Would Nazism and white power, would that attract you to a band?
No.
If they disagree, this is the easiest round. If they disagree with your views, would it put you off?
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Fuck that.
I mean, I'm not necessarily a huge fan of Phil Anselmo, who I did actually mention here, and I definitely should have. Yeah, with his white power outburst thing. I've never been a huge fan of him specifically, but I was a huge fan of Pantera. Still am a huge fan of Pantera because this is way after.
Yeah.
But at a time where I was kind of like meh about Phil anyway, his comment on that front was definitely enough for me to be like, I'm just gonna even stop listening to anything that you put out, quite frankly. Not strictly just because of that, but just because of the complete lack of taking responsibility for it afterwards as well. Kind of just saying like, oh, it wasn't intended like that. It was
The white wine.
yeah. It's just like, shut up, dude. You're a racist.
Yeah.
Just shut the fuck up. So yeah, that's about all I've really got on that. Don't care to listen to any bands that specifically hate on anyone.
No, it doesn't. It's not interesting. Although if there's a band that hated on white power, I'll probably give them a little listen. But again, I feel like there would probably be a band that focused on that as a full theme rather than
Yeah, and then
touching
in
it.
which case, like you said a minute ago, I think the way that you put it a minute ago, like the message might be right, but you're delivering it in completely the wrong fucking medium.
Yeah. Right, let's end this bitch on religion.
Yeah. So I mostly focused on Christian metal because I've always thought it's quite interesting that there are so many religions that are wrapped up in music, yet Christian metal. I've actually even put here like perhaps more of a specific message or a concept as opposed to a genre in its own rights, but gets labeled as a genre.
It does,
Like
yeah.
Christian metal is like a genre of music, and that's fucking weird. So kind of emerged in the 70s and 80s with bands like the Daniel Band, and perhaps most notably Striper, I think it is, or is it Stripper? I don't know.
I'll go with Striper.
Yeah, me too. Continuing on today with bands like previous Deciphered reviewees, Demon Hunter,
Woo woo.
and popular Christian nu metal band POD, which is Payable on Death. Kind of an interesting name for a Christian new metal band. But
Yeah.
there you
I didn't realise I was a Christian until you just told me for the first time now.
are. So yeah, they are labelled as a Christian new metal band on Wikipedia and other various online sources, which I thought was quite weird. But I do have a bit of a list of more unexpected Christian bands. So would you care to hear?
I would care.
So my list includes, but is not limited to, As I Lay Dying, Attack Attack, August Burns Red, Beartooth, Bless the Fool, The Devil Wears Prada,
All right.
Flyleaf,
Heck.
Uek,
I knew Flyleaf, yeah.
Mastodon, Memphis Mayfire, Skillet, Still Remains, Under Oath, our Christian metal band, Wage War, again previous deciphered reviewees, reactees, yeah, and Your Demise being another popular one.
My Demise is popular. Well, fuck you guys. I'll have them one day.
So yeah,
September this year.
it is worth pointing out that some of these bands might not necessarily have songs that are sort of loaded with Christianity themed lyrics. They are, for whatever reason, still dubbed as such.
Right, okay.
But other religious people and bands or other religions in music, again, include but not limited to Tom Araya, is that how you say his surname? From Slayer, who is I'm going to avoid the term born again because I think it's a little bit kind of demeaning. But as you pointed out yesterday, I think, was religious, then stopped being religious, and then found religion again.
I think that's the case, yes.
Catholic, either way. There's a Buddhist metal band called Gorguts. Yep, Gorguts.
Nice.
Featuring songs with translates. Oh yeah. Featuring songs with like translations from the Dalai Lama's. Where the fuck am I? I literally had it. 1 second. Yeah, Buddhist metal band Gorguts featuring songs with translations from the Dalai Lama's writings and even the name itself. Demonic Resurrection, which is a Hindu metal band from
Nice.
Mumbai. And most interestingly for me, anyway, Billy Sheehan, who's worked with David Lee Roth and Steve Vai, is an active Scientologist.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
Can't necessarily say that they sort of promote much of that in their music, but these are all worth mentioning.
What was that?
I did a Donald.
Yeah, so sticking on with Tom Araya for a second. So a lot of people are obviously surprised that Slayer vocalist Tom Araya is Catholic, as some of Slayer's lyrics could be seen to contradict that. But Tom has said in an interview that if Kerry King writes a great song and it's not very Christian or Catholic, he'll put his beliefs aside. He's not gonna ruin a good song because of that.
Fair.
He says that shock factor is what Slayer's about as well. He's happy to go with it. He knows that in his heart he believes in God. He has the faith of Jesus. But he knows that he shouldn't get in the way of that. I wish politicians would know that as well.
Yeah.
Fucking
For sure.
abortion making prick. Or abortion not making. Cool. Have you got any more on religion before I tap on?
Only the questions.
I'll fly away. Or do you want to end it with all the questions together?
Yeah, let's do that. So
a hell of a lot of bands in metal use religion, but may not be pushing any point. You knew it was coming, had to be mentioned once. For example, Avenged Sevenfold. For example, Avenged Sevenfold, who are not religious. They got their band name and a lot of their song ideas / references from the Bible. Avenged Sevenfold. It's from the story of Cain and Abel, and it is a quote of God. A lot of non-metal fans assume we are all Satanists, and while they do definitely exist in our scene, I'd say the vast majority are not satanic, with some atheists and others with choices of different faiths. You've got Islamic metal fans, you've got Jewish metal fans, Christian,
yeah, absolutely,
everywhere really. So yeah, there are Christian metal bands such as Flyleaf, and there are Satanist bands such as Behemoth. There is a strange difference I've noticed between, not all, but a lot. It seems that Christian metal bands more promote Christianity, whereas Satanist bands don't really promote Satanism. They more shit all over Christianity.
Yeah, which neither one is like, that's neither here nor there. Do you know what I mean? That's kind of like, well, it's not exactly worse. It's not exactly better.
I think I'd rather, like, with promoting Christianity, if Christian bands all of a sudden like fuck Satanists, or like, wow, there's a new tone, check it out. But I'm not going to go out of my mind. I don't really care about anyone's religion in the band at all. Flyleaf are fantastic. I'm against their Christian. Against the Christian, I'm against their religion. I'm against any religion personally. I'm an atheist. I say against it. I don't care what you are. Just don't shove it in my mouth.
Yeah, literally. If you're going to stop me on the street to try and shove a Mormon Bible in my face, then I'm probably going to tell you why I disagree with that. But other than that,
Yeah, and that's equally for any religion.
believe what the hell you want. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So, questions?
Yeah. Do you want to go first or want to go first?
I'll go first. So, what are your thoughts overall on religion and music? Which I feel is probably pretty much the same question that you're going to ask me anyway.
Effectively. But what do I feel about Christians or religion as a whole? Sorry.
Religion.
I think it's fine if you give me some interesting stories from your Bibles. Because if you're going to speak to me about fiction, you may as well make it good.
We support all religions on here. Just keep it to yourself.
Support your choices. I don't support religion. I support your choices. Yeah, I feel like I'll give you some like cool stories from like all religions have them. I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Don't give me preachy stuff. As long as it's not preachy, is basically what I'm saying.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, I pretty much spot on agree. So could there be any perceived threat in religion and music?
Yes, and that is because people of other religions may get offended by it because it's not the one true God. I don't really fucking know how religion works. But if choose a random, I'm going to choose two weird ones out of the way so it's not offensive to many people. Say a Mormon band make a song and Scientology guy over here is really fucking annoyed at it. He might start a fight, not with the band, but like social media does not help the system either because someone gets offended by something, there's a voice to be heard.
Yeah.
So no, it's not a good idea. What was your question exactly again?
Could there be any perceived threat in it?
Yes, it could.
Fucking hell. Fire away if you've got any questions.
I thought I worded them. So would you like religion and music? Basically, answer that.
Yeah, I don't really mind it as long as it's not shoved in my face and telling me that I should go to church on Sundays.
Yes,
because
or
I'd
any
rather
day.
lie in.
Would it put you off if the band's views were against yours? For me, no, because any religious band would be against my views. So I'm totally happy with like you guys, anyone being religious. In case I've made anyone feel like I hate religion, I do hate religion, but I don't. God, how do I word this? I'm an atheist. I don't believe in anything, and I wish religion was non-existent. Therefore, there'd be a lot less fucking fighting and wars and shit.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I totally respect what you believe in because I don't care.
Fair enough. And that is the topic. Really interesting points.
Yeah, we got through a lot there.
Yeah. Right. We are a little pressed for time, so let's get rolling straight into your take on Saturday night.
Yes. Rammstein, the Glebe, and I'll get the set list up now. So, if you don't already know, Rammstein played their only UK show of this year, and it was their first time stepping up to a stadium. And there's quite a few stadiums to choose here, and they just so some of the photos you've seen, by the way, I'm taken by me. You can pay me later. Yeah, they for some reason just like cool. Let's play at Stadium MK, Milton Keynes.
I mean, it is owned by Marshall now, so
yeah, but it's still pretty insane.
Fucking well chuffed, to be honest.
Before this summer, they've never had a concert there at the actual stadium. Then they had Take That, Rod Stewart, and now fucking Rammstein.
I'm almost certain that's not 100% correct. I feel like somebody played either earlier this year or tail end of last year.
Black Eyed Peas played the arena, but not the stadium.
What arena?
The Wembley, the Marshall Arena. They've got a little arena now on the Asda side.
Huh.
Yeah. They didn't play the full stadium.
Crazy.
Yeah, so there you go. So yeah, we got there. Queuing system was a bit mad. I saw the queue for merch was disgusting. 1,000 people queuing for it. There's one merch stall with 5 people working it.
Wow.
40,000. I believe it's 44,000 cap at the end after the stadium applied for
extra tickets.
Yeah,
and stuff.
The council even allowed another batch on the day before. So even just went back, think like they hit 40,000, then the day before, literally the day before the gig,
they put another 4,000.
Yeah,
and they sold out instantly.
Yeah, so it started off with What is Libra, which we'll get onto my thoughts of the song later.
Yeah.
Then Links 234, which was fucking insane straight away.
Yeah.
Now, there was, unfortunately, just after this, I was dealing with a certain situation, which I won't go into, but that kind of took away from the next couple of songs. Luckily, I don't know the next couple of songs too well anyway. But those were Tattoo and Sensucht. I'm going to pronounce some of these wrong. Then it moved on to Zeitditch, and that's the third track on the new album, and it was fucking great live.
Yeah?
Yeah, I will point out now, actually, for the first track, Was Ich Liebe, which I'll probably mention again in the review later, it was a very odd choice for the opening track of
I agree.
the set list, yeah. But that's that. Then it went on to my favourite track, Mine Hurts Brent, which is utterly incredible, but not Song of the Night like I expected it to be.
When you say your favourite track, do you mean your favourite Rammstein track overall?
Yeah.
Or... Oh, okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
sick.
That's
That's pretty cool that you got the opportunity to see that live in the stadium in your hometown, though.
fucking
So
amazing, yeah. But yeah, I expected that to be the best song of the night. It wasn't even in the top 3, I don't think. Then, not Pussy, but Puppy was next.
Ah.
And that's the darkest fucking thing you've ever heard from Rammstein.
It fucking is, and we'll get onto that.
Yep.
Very
but
shortly.
on stage, they just had a burning buggy.
That's disgraceful.
A massive burning buggy. Burning from the inside. Obviously, assuming a child is inside it.
Wow.
Yeah, really intense. Then another thing happened, which I will go into detail with. So I'm watching Rammstein. Puppy's just amazing. And then Here Ain't Mitch comes on. I'm enjoying the first 20 seconds of that. And then, don't know why, some guy who's there's certain gig etiquette, right?
100%.
If I'm going past you, I'm like, oh, sorry, mate, just trying to get through.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, okay, yeah, cool. No worries.
Even then, I'd probably be a bit like,
yeah, if it's continuous. But yeah, this guy tries to push past me, and there's no like words from him, so I just go stiff. I'm like, I'm not being fucking moved, right? So he rammed into me. I move slightly. Obviously, I'm being rammed into. He turns around, throws a pint in my face. Okay, cheers, mate. Now if anyone that knows me, and if anyone now doesn't, I am not a fightery kind of guy. I don't like fighting. I haven't fought in fucking years. I saw red. I was partially drunk, and this guy threw a pint in my face unprovoked. So I pushed my mate Bailey out of the way, and I was going to swing for him. Unfortunately, at that time, it's slippery on the floor. So I slipped.
Because you've just had a pint thrown over you.
Yes, that would be it. So I slip on that. I slip into him. He goes down as well. Before I get a chance to fucking throw a punch at his face, I'm seething right now. Like,
yeah.
all of my mates around me were like, I've not seen Conan angry before. And they were like, as soon as my mate James was like, you're right. I was like, oh, don't fucking touch me right now. This is my time to zone out.
Interesting.
Yeah, so, but I didn't want to put off anyone else's gig at the same time. But yeah, by the time he got up, I went to get up, and this guy just stopped me to stop the fight, which I get now. But at the time, I was like, no, I wanted to punch him. I was really angry.
You could have gotten thrown out, though. That's the other thing.
Probably, but he didn't. I don't know. I think if I gave him a punch and he fucked off, I would have been right. Either way, at that time, and still to this day, I want to punch him in the throat. Throat?
In the throat?
That's a face and throat.
That is a wide punch.
So yeah, Harriet Mitchell didn't really get much of, but then I came back to Diamant, and I was kind of like chilling out. I was like, right, it was performed really fucking well, but for my mind frame at the time, it was the softest fucking thing they've played all night. I was like, okay, cool, give me something heavy. And then the Deutschland remix came through the speakers, so it's probably like ravey kind of stuff with Deutschland. It's like excellent. Then they hit into Deutschland, and I death metal growled that song a lot. Get my anger out. It was fucking great. It was perfect song to come on. And this list of songs before before 10 to 15 are 6 songs that were perfect for me at that time.
Yeah.
Deutschland, Radio, Mindtail, Du hast, Song of the Night, and Onditch. Son, if you can find some videos online of the fire through Son, fucking intense. So we were pretty far back from the stage.
Yeah, people were saying that it was like hot air being blown in your fucking face.
We were pretty far back from the actual stage, over halfway back, but not all the way back. But we had the pillar. There were 3 pillars as well, like where we stood. One on the left, one where we were, and one on the right.
Yeah.
And that was blowing flames up as well. We felt that like fucking hot. It was incredible. Yeah, on to finally on dick. On dish. On this dick. So then they played Engel with the support acts duo Jattercock. And they did whistling. Rather than whistling, they did the fucking piano, which was a massive shame. It really was. But it was still good. Then the encore of Auslander.
Yes.
Which I love that song anyway, spoiler alert. But seeing it live made me truly appreciate the fuck out of it. It's so good. It delivers live. It's so good. Then Du Rich so Gut, and then Pussy, which was fantastic. As per usual, they shot foam come over the front front probably 20 rows. And then the final encore of Rammstein and Ishville, which was fantastic as well. Overall, one of the best shows I've seen in my life. Probably the best show I've seen of Rammstein of the 3 times.
Excellent.
Which I would hope from a stadium over download. You know, like in Du Hast, I was expecting that firework to shoot towards the camera booth.
Yeah.
And then shoot back. Obviously, there's no camera booth at this one. So I was like, where are they going to do this? I'm looking above me. There's no way they can connect a thing all the way there. So I was like, they're not going to do it here. And then they did it, but they shot it across half the stadium on 2 different sides, and then shot it back. It's just so much fire. I want to go back to the show. I've already looked at tickets for France on Thursday. I know that I can't go, but I've looked. I'm tempted. So overall, fantastic show. They delivered so fucking well. MK Stadium, the sound was great. I know Rammstein brought extra like sound equipment for themselves, but the sound was fucking bang on. Much better than the sound for Guns N' Roses at Wembley, Olympia Stadium, wherever that is.
Yeah.
Those are the only 2 stadium shows I've been to. So yeah, more gigs outside my workplace, please. Let's take that though.
Sick. So
that moves nicely on to
the review, which is Rammstein by Rammstein. So this is the newest album. Are you ready?
1 second, so I've got comments. Oh god, I don't think I want to read this. This is a very interesting podcast, as one close to my heart. Like most of the rest of the world, I know that the biggest terrorize. Like most of the rest of the world, I know that the biggest terrorist organization in the world is Israel. But I also know Zionist Jews who despise their own government and support Palestine. Although having said that, they would not like giving the hordes of Palestinian land stolen by Israel back to them. Paraphrasing. I would not like any band that I've liked previously spewing out songs continuously which anti-meat eater. There's a typo there. Would be anti-meat eater, right? Anti-Brexit, anti-Trump. So this person is a Brexit supporter and a Trump supporter. My favourite. Or any song about Mexican children in cages blaming Trump when Obama did the same thing. Except Obama has split up families, whereas Donald Trump has just separated the children who are sent over themselves by their parents in the bin.
There was another comment on there. Do you want to read it?
Was there? Fucking brilliant.
Unless it was like a part 2 of that.
No, that's it.
What's this? Okay.
Good chat. Thank you for your comments. We appreciate them all. It's good to have different opinions.
So Deutschland.
Rammstein, yes.
Yes. Rammstein by Rammstein. Deutschland starting us off. So you said earlier that you want me to go first. So. It's tasty. Absolute power punch of an opener to the album. And definitely would be for the gig too. I'm really surprised they didn't open with this, actually.
I thought they would have as well.
I'm fucking shocked a little bit, to be honest. Immediately, Rammstein, as I know them, there's like a sense of familiarity which sets you up for a good experience, but there's also like evolution that's immediately audible. And that's coming from somebody that isn't like massively familiar with all of their shit. So yeah, fucking damn good start to an album.
Yeah. So Deutschland, considering it's their first album I put dash years because I was going to Google it before the show and I didn't.
X amount of years.
This opening track is fucking incredible. The best track on the album, for me, easily. Well, not easily. Actually, it's a close second. The band used more synth here on this album, perhaps more than ever, but it works. There are softer parts, there are powerful parts that added on to the song's there are softer parts, there are powerful parts. Those 2 things added on to the song's subject matter here through the lyrics make it a perfect track.
So just before we go on, you mentioned lyrics. How much translation have you done?
More than any other Rammstein album.
Interesting. Yeah. Cool.
I've looked into this, Radio, Auslander, Puppy, and Zeitditch. So this one more touches on the things that Germany probably should not have done in their history.
So I actually got a little bit excited listening to this because I even heard words that I was immediately familiar with and didn't have to translate from fucking language college days. But that sent me on a mad hype to start looking into virtually all of the songs. All of the bits and bobs that I was able to pick out made me curious as fuck to go through the rest. So we'll move on to Radio. Sick riff work. What? Oh, okay.
Sorry, carry on.
We were like, Wait a minute. I'm not done. Yeah, fucking sick riff work on the guitar after a weird synthy opening. It has a very dark feel, and the lyrics tell of hearing what you cannot see and may suggest something to do with the band's success outside of their local mainstream. Because actually, they're nowhere near as big in Germany as they are in the rest of the world.
No. Probably because Germany know the lyrics, yeah.
Yeah, and they're just like, well, that's gross.
So yeah, Radio, a very upbeat track, one you can dance and bounce around to. The catchy chorus aids that point too. There's always something going on which keeps you engaged to keep listening. The use of synth continues to work extremely well.
Yeah, sick.
One of my top tracks.
Dick. Sick as fuck opening to the track with an orchestra. The title of the song means show yourself, though other lyrics suggest a very hoary turn on those words. I actually really like the song, even though the message in it is a bit twisted and a bit dark. It's a really good song. Really good song.
So yeah, Zeitditch, another great track which comprises of an amazing catchy chorus with a constant build around it and in between it. Lyrically is again raising issues that need to be spoken about.
Yeah.
So it starts off with like the choir sound.
Yeah.
And it is basically about the church abusing boys.
Yeah. Pretty fucking sick. So we move on to my personal favourite on the album.
Oh, okay.
Auslander.
Auslander.
There were elements to the song, I'm going to point out now, there were elements to the way that it sounds that weren't necessarily for me. However, while I'm not necessarily fully sold on the style or the theme of the song, in all honesty, it is one of the most intelligently written songs that I've ever heard from Rammstein. Incorporating many different languages and the theme of traveling a lot, sleeping around, and generally being an Auslander, meaning outlander or foreigner, still gets points for being extremely smartly written. And just the use of other languages, the way that all of the lyrics kind of pull in together, it's really fucking... Yeah, literally, just fucking the whole song is just like, this is sick. This is sick.
Yeah, so for me, yep, another top track and another upbeat one. Auslander translates to foreigner, so the use of multiple languages in the chorus is great. It's definitely one of the wildest tracks, wackiest, or both works actually, wildest and wackiest tracks on the album. One you can easily sing along to once you've learnt the words.
Yeah, for sure.
Sex.
A song about just that. Sex. You only live once. Till Lindemann is gross, that kind of thing. It's a really good song, very in line with what you expect from the band. In terms of just, I mean, it is literally like the name's on the tin, basically, and that's what you get. So yeah, that's about what you can say.
So Sex opens up with a melodic sound into a somewhat western vibe. Rammstein keep killing it here with great rhythms, a plethora of sounds and instruments. Till's vocals are intense too. Shouting sex loudly is always a nice touch.
Puppy.
On the complete other side of Sex, we have Puppy. Yeah.
I literally put wow. This is a twisted as fuck song. So his sister is a prostitute, I'm guessing.
Yep. Who is also a child.
Yeah. I heard the words "club to death" in there. They were words that I was able to pick out, and that enticed me to be like, right, nah, I need to.
Language school taught you well, didn't it?
No, actually, that was being in a language school and wanting to offend my German teacher.
Right.
Not using the words "club to death" specifically, but just that I knew what death meant, and I knew that the words for "clubbed for" were very kind of like angry, kind of like doing something to somebody, and then followed by death. It was kind of like, okay, I'm looking this shit up. And it's a disgusting song. Heard the words "club to death" in there before looking up the translation, and was then further horrified. What the absolute fuck?
So you looked at the full translation?
Oh fuck yeah, I have.
Yeah.
That's horrific.
Yeah, so
absolutely horrific.
Effectively, before I go into my review of it, the opening lyrics are basically it's from a boy's point of view. I think his older sister, who is also still a child, is like, oh, my sister needs to go to work, but she doesn't get the train to work. She works in the next bedroom.
Door.
Yeah, and then you hear that puppy means doll, by the way. So this boy is in the very fucking heavy as fuck chorus. He's ripping the head off the doll and biting into the neck of the doll because he can hear his sister getting raped. And then I think either the rapist kills her and then he kills him, or she just kills him. He just kills him anyway. Either way, I'm pretty sure the boy kills this man.
Well, no, she's clubbed to death,
She's clubbed to death.
so
And
she's
does he
dead.
kill her? He kill her, or is it just the end that she's dead?
She's dead, and then it goes back to him biting the head off of the.
Oh,
or
right.
biting the
I
neck
thought
of
he
the
killed her.
doll.
I thought he killed him.
I will look further into that. Actually,
I might be wrong. To be honest.
all I got was that like he could hear her moaning and screaming, and it wasn't necessarily in pleasure at all.
Oh, I wouldn't know.
And then goes into a really angry fucking chorus, which quite frankly, Till Lindemann sounds scarier than fucking ever.
It's lies and the property. Oh,
It's
so fucking heavy.
It is heavy as fuck,
It's
man.
insane live. That feeling, and then the pram burn, like I said.
Blah.
Right, so yeah, speaking of intense, here it is. Puppy, which translates to Doll, is the darkest, heaviest track in Rammstein's history. Some of the singing here is genuinely beautiful until it takes a turn into a clearly painful, angry, shouting / screaming. The instrumentals are extremely simple here, and that is perfectly done. Any more would have taken away from the point of the song. A close second best under Deutschland.
Fair. Was ich lieb.
Yes.
It's a dark sounding song with a bittersweet melody. All I was really able to pick out myself was What I Love Must Die. Again, knowing the word of like death and dying and stuff. I heard die and was like, right, okay, let's look into that one. So What I Love Must Die. So there you go. Really good song. Can't fault it.
This is where we take different paths.
No way.
What is Lieber? This is unfortunately where the album falls for the first time.
Ooh.
The chorus is good, but that's about it. It just really lacks the power we've had so far. Yep.
Fair. Diamond. Interesting to find something like this on an album so full of shagging and horrible tales of prostitutes getting murdered. But it's almost poetic, and actually, I think it has its perfect place in the album, and I really liked it.
Yep. Rammstein going full ballad is risky on paper, but they nail it. Absolutely. It's a short track, but that probably works in its favour. It's obviously very soft, but it still has its intensity and emotion. The operatic voice in the background, as well as the melodic instrumental, make it even more memorable.
It doesn't stay soft for the whole thing, does it? There is like a part where it picks up a bit.
A bit, yeah, but I still call it a ballad overall.
Yeah, for sure. Weit weg, because W is V in Germany. I don't know. Far away is the translation. Sounds like an ode to someone who has passed away and the grief that can kind of come through in his vocals, I guess. Really good song, and just making this album so interesting. The guitar solo-y bit as well was fucking sick.
Yep. Weit weg. This is my final top song of the album.
Interesting.
The main song by a mile that they didn't play live that I wish they did. They continue to surprise me with how well synth fits into a track so perfectly. The static part that goes straight into that crazy guitar solo towards the end just effortlessly sounds incredible. I love that there's so much going on, but it's still a slow pace. Yeah, so I'll rephrase that in a proper tone. I love that there's so much going on, but it's still a slow pace.
Yeah. Really sick.
One of my top tracks, as I just already said.
So Tattoo. Cool opening to a brutal track that's very reminiscent of older Rammstein for me, with a bit of a new flair. Not my favourite on the album, but still really good.
It's a good track with yet another great chorus, which they are fucking great at doing. The rest of the track is fine, but there's nothing that massively stands out.
Yeah, fair. Hello, man. Opening on the bass is sick, because I'm a massive advocate for that. I think the bass is a severely underrated instrument and deserves its own little thing there, so I was really happy for that. Immediately a creepy sounding track as it progresses in, but lyrically it's grim sounding. Telling a little girl to get in, don't say anything, and just do it. Nah, mate.
I did not look at the lyrics for this one.
Okay, so basically, yeah, telling a little girl to get in your van or your truck or something like that, and don't say anything and just do it, kind of suggests that get in my truck, little girl. Here's my peen. Musically, unfortunately, one of the best ones on the album for how twisted it sounds. But yeah, the message in it is really quite dark. Look up the translation; it's pretty gross.
Yeah, I will do that. So take this with a pinch of salt. Now that I know the lyrics, I didn't know any of the lyrics beforehand. So after an almost perfect album, this is a letdown. Especially that it's the album closer. There's just not much going on. It's not awful. It's just a tad boring.
Fair. Is that it?
Yep.
Cool. So that is the album. Overall, I said sick album with some disgusting and quite frankly haunting themes. Musically, they've evolved from a lot of the older stuff that I'm familiar with, but still definitely Rammstein, and for that reason, For me, it's what did you guess?
I guess that you would give them.
4
I never
or
did it in the
5?
end. I said it's gonna be a minimum 5, and never gave you a proper one. I would have guessed probably a 6 or 7.
I give it a 9 out of 10.
9.
A 9 out of 10. And I
Nice.
really enjoyed listening to this album, even though it was like
And you guessed that I'd give it an 8, didn't you?
I did.
So overall, it's fucking incredible. The vocals, the instrumentals, the synth, the array of pace used throughout, the surprise of Puppy, and the fun of Radio in Oslander, with only a few low points, make this return for Rammstein monumental. I'm torn between 2 numbers.
7 and 8.
No.
8 and 9.
Yeah.
Oh,
So torn. There's no really bad song. It's a 9 out of 10 for me as well.
it is a 9 out of 10. So I was
We
wrong.
agreed on both of them.
No.
7
'cause
7.
Yeah, we did.
9
Fuck,
9.
yeah, shit.
What is going on?
I know.
Cool. Thank you for joining us for this slightly later podcast.
Yes.
Quite good length though, actually. Almost 2 hours. What, hour and a quarter? Hour and 3/4? Math. Even just simple reading, in fact. Cool.
Yeah, it's literally right in front of you. Oh, excellent stuff.
Right. Thank you for joining us. So next week we will be bringing you the Decipher Tournament 2 quarterfinals. That's where each matchup will have 4 topics discussed about it. Make sure you vote on the thing. I'll be tagging some of you bastards anyway. And then next week's review. Not next week, next time, because we're back in 2 weeks' time.
Oh.
Next time's reviews. We've got
Yes.
the fan choice. Now, Luke Powell said about doing a review of Ice 9 Kills history. We're not doing that. We've decided to go for just an album, so that's what you're getting.
enough.
It'll be the most recent album, which I haven't looked up because I'm prepared. Now we have the poll between us, which will be up tomorrow or tonight. And this time it's Rob's choice to choose, and he chose.
I chose Contraband by Velvet Revolver.
Yes. I chose Appetite for Destruction by Guns N' Roses.
Disgraceful. Where's your sense of adventure, man?
Well, I thought about it, and I almost my original thought was Alice in Chains, and I thought they've been up for 2 polls so far and lost both of them. And I don't feel like it's right for me to choose them for a poll because you chose both of them last time. They're kind of your band, but I'm not going to choose them. I looked for some other things. Pearl Jam popped up. I was like, oh, maybe Pearl Jam, and I thought we've got to one day review Appetite for Destruction.
Fair.
So it's up there. I'm never going to personally choose it.
And we will let you guys decide.
See you on Monday in 2 weeks' time.
And follow us.
Everywhere. Oh yeah, I didn't do Spotify because I'm a shit person. Right. See you later.